What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in the Khaliis Take. You know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell just so you can get the newest and the bonus content first. But hey, let's just go ahead and jump right in. At this point, we spoke on this in saying that the Clippers are more or less going to be active in the buyout market, which they really don't have any choice because, in my estimation, they gave away one of their premier core players in Serge Ibaka, and I definitely think they're going to regret that unless they find a way to manufacture up another player or find another player who can give the same type of value that he was able to give the Clippers. Even though he didn't play in the last couple of years as much as they would liked, but he definitely was a locker room presence, definitely was a guy that everybody in the locker room respected. And on top of that, he definitely was a guy that Kawhi Leonard respected. And, you have to understand, too, Kawhi Leonard wanted Serge Ibaka there. So now you have to ask yourself, what does Kawhi Leonard think about the Clippers organization? You see what I'm saying? Of course, I'm pretty sure he still thinks good of them, nothing bad. But at the same time, when you trade high IQ players like that, it can definitely make a superstar player like him who wanted Serge Ibaka there think differently in regards to his decisions going forward with the team, simply because of the decision that the team made without his maybe conviction or without his thought process or something like that. You have to look at these type things. And Serge Ibaka is Kawhi's guy. He really is. They won a championship together. They had a YouTube show where Serge was cooking, and him and Kawhi got closer that way. And Kawhi petitioned for him to come there. So letting go of Serge is really bad. And then on top of that, you got to look at as well, Ty Lue and Nicholas Batum speaks out yesterday in regards to the trading of Serge Ibaka. That he's a good locker room guy. It sucks to lose him. One thing Ty Lue was saying, and his championship pedigree. It sucks to lose somebody like that, and Nicholas Batum spoke on just the fact of having somebody in the locker room he can speak French to, since Nicholas Batum is the only French player I think that's on the Clippers. He was able to speak in another language with Serge Ibaka and have that camaraderie, and those are the type of things I'm talking about. You don't have that type of camaraderie and chemistry with every player, and this is why I said a good locker room guy like Serge not only rubbed off on a lot of players, but at the same time, he actually helped a lot of players probably in their development, like Zubac and Isaiah Hartenstein. He was like their big brother possibly to go to and ask for advice when they're not playing at a high level, because Serge has definitely played at a high level for a long time and been one of the best defenders, rim protectors that we've seen in this league. So, and even Ty Lue mentioned that part as well. So you got to look at, losing certain players like that with championship aspirations, championship pedigree, high basketball IQ. It definitely hurts your chances of winning unless you're able to replace him with somebody who has that same pedigree or that has, a lot of the same attributes that he does. Now, to shift our focus to the buyout options in which the Clippers are definitely going to shift their focus to. There's a few players out there on the buyout market. I don't know if they really fit well with the Clippers, so to say, but the top candidates that I see is John Wall, I think Eric Gordon, Tristan Thompson, you got Goran Dragic, and you got Gary Harris, and you have Dennis Schroeder. Now, of course, I've said before, over and over and over, a point guard is what they also need in regards to having somebody anchor the defense and having that quarterback on offense. And I've been said Goran Dragic is the player they should get because, if they get John Wall, I feel like John Wall can take minutes away from maybe somebody like Reggie Jackson or somebody like that, even though Reggie is a shooting guard. But they play Reggie a lot at the point, and, of course, Reggie would be able to go back to his natural position, but how comfortable has he gotten in the point guard role? He's gotten very, very comfortable in that. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, John Wall might come in and, he might play well, he might not. It's taking a huge chance on him anyway because of his injury history. John Wall is definitely not the most healthiest player in the NBA. But of course, you could say that about a lot of players, so that doesn't mean much. But at the same time, When you look at the situation, I just personally think Goran Dragic would fit a little bit better because he's he's very, very humbled, and he's one of those locker room guys I think that, help teams win. I mean, we just saw it a couple seasons ago with Miami when they went in the bubble and they took their team all the way to the finals, and Goran Dragic was a big part of that. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think he was the leading scorer on the team besides, Jimmy Butler, to help him get that far until he got injured right before the finals. So, I mean, it definitely shows what type of impact he can have on a team, and what the outcome can be. Now, I'm not saying John Wall couldn't help, because John Wall is a talented player, and I don't want nobody to ever misconstrue that or get that wrong, that he does have talent. I mean, he's been in the NBA a long time. He's played at a high level. He's been an all-star on a few occasions. So he does have talent. Nobody has ever taken that away from John Wall. It's just that the Clippers are on the cusp of trying to win a championship. And I don't know if John Wall's mentality and IQ is high enough to put them over the hump, because when you look at a lot of other teams, he doesn't match up well, because let's just say the Warriors and the Suns, point guard wise, he can't match up well against Chris Paul, because Chris Paul's a better point guard. Overall, he's just way better. Stephen Curry is a way better point guard than John Wall. You see what I'm saying? So it's like he's good. He's good, but I don't know if he would be what the Clippers would need to be able to get over the hump with teams like that, because when you're the point guard of a team, your decision making and everything it needs to be flawless. Because when situations happen where situational basketball needs to be played, where you have to understand the high IQ moments that you need to get your team over the hump and make the right decisions, is John Wall able to do that? Is he capable of doing it? I know he's capable, but will he do that? And these are the questions that a lot of teams have about him and had about him in his career a long time. And the fact that he doesn't stretch the floor, he can't really shoot, that hurts a lot, because every point guard in the league that's really, really good, it has an adequate jump shot. They can shoot. You see what I'm saying? And that's one thing John Wall can't do. And you got to ask yourself how much of his athleticism he still has from back in the day from Washington. And maybe he has a lot of it. Maybe he doesn't have much. I mean, he is older now. This is like 10 years later, from the Washington days where he was doing really good or, playing at a high level. So you got to ask yourself those things. And it's almost like looking at Westbrook. Westbrook is still a productive player, but I don't think he's the player he was several years ago, athletic wise, to where he could just get to the rim and do splash plays and go from one end of the floor easily and just do it every single night. I don't think he's that player anymore, or at least he's starting to show flashes that he's not going to be that player going forward. So you might could say the same thing about John Wall. So that's what I'm saying. When you look at John Wall, it's a lot of ifs with him, because like I said, when players like that don't have athleticism no more, they're really not as valuable unless they turn into like a Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose, these last couple seasons, his jump shot is legit. I mean, Derrick Rose can shoot threes at a high clip now. He doesn't use his athleticism no more as much. He still does crafty plays, but he doesn't use his athleticism because he's changed his game into a different type player to where it still allows him to be effective. Russell Westbrook's, John Wall's, they haven't changed their game like he has. So until they do that, they're not going to help teams win. So that's the reason why I say John Wall is an iffy, not really good selection for the Clippers, if you ask me. Now, of course, Eric Gordon would be a really good pickup. I would like to see them possibly get somebody like him. Of course, maybe Gary Harris, he's not too bad. I remember him playing on the Nuggets. He's definitely a decent, valuable role player as well. But at this point, I do think they need size. And, unless they can get somebody with some size in there, maybe even Tristan Thompson. I've never been a big Tristan Thompson fan, but at the same time, he can get you rebounds. He is active on the boards. He does fight on defense. He's definitely a edgy type guy on defense. He can be, when he's engaged, he can definitely, he can block some shots and play a little defense too. So, and he's won a championship, I believe, with the Cavaliers, with LeBron. So, I mean, he does have championship pedigree. So, I mean, I guess, he would be an option as well if you're just trying to go what's out there on the buyout and see what's out there that might be valuable for the team. He definitely could be an option as well if you look at it from that standpoint. But, like I said, we have to see what the Clippers do. We have to see, what transition they're going to make in regards to, replacing Serge, because I definitely don't think Rodney Hood and the other piece that they picked up from the Bucks, I believe, is really worth anything. I think they need to just go ahead and trash them and get something else. Rodney Hood, I mean, honestly, I didn't even know he was in the league still. I thought he was in the G League or D League or somewhere like that by now. His game never really panned out to me. I never really saw his game, helping a team win or him even being effective enough to stay in the NBA. Hopefully he does, but I just don't see it. His game equating to anything. And the other guy, I can't even pronounce his name, so I really can't speak on him or say he's any good or say anything about him because I don't even know anything about him. So, that's neither here nor there. But at the same time, the Clippers just have to find somebody else. And like I said, these are pretty much the picks they have to pick through. And I mean, really, it's just the pick of the litter, if you ask me, but I mean, this is all they got and this is where they are. And hopefully, if this was their plan, hopefully they land a good piece. That's the only thing I can say, because right now, like I said, it doesn't look too good for the Clippers. And I stress this by saying it again. I really don't think Kawhi Leonard's too happy about Serge Ibaka leaving this team. If Ty Lue said something about it, if Nicholas Batum said something about it, I'm pretty sure Kawhi Leonard in his mind is saying, or to his camp, he's saying something about it as well, because he thinks highly of Serge. And as I said in yesterday's video, I thought Serge was starting to play a little bit better. I thought I thought he was starting to get a little bit of a rhythm these last several games. I thought he was starting to get going a little bit, and then all of a sudden they pulled the plug on him. But like I said, you pull the plug on him, but you still got Zubac, who's up and down, and then you still got Marcus Morris on the team, a guy who's very, very inconsistent, and that third scorer that they look for him to be that never shows up in the playoffs. But you keep him. I just don't get the logic. But I mean, hey, who am I to say? It's just my opinion in regards to that. I mean, the Clippers front office, they make all the decisions, whether good or bad. And as I say, Clippers Nation just got to live with it. But that's things like that are the difference of a team winning a championship and a team that never wins a championship. You have to make the right decisions to allow your team to flourish, to be the team they need to be. Because even though you don't have Kawhi and PG, because you don't have them, then you don't take away championship pedigree type players when you don't have your superstars. That should be common sense right there, because you need all the championship pedigree you can get because you're trying to make it to the playoffs, and you got a bunch of young players on this team who don't have playoff experience, who do have talent, but talent doesn't get you wins in the playoffs. You have to know how to play in situational basketball. You have to know certain things you need to do when a team comes at you and backs you down into a corner, and you have to figure out ways to be effective. And a lot of those young players on the Clippers don't know that. The Brandon Bostons and the Amir Coffees and, players like that, they don't know those type things. So even though they play well in the regular season, in the playoffs is where you make your money. That's where you're personified by, the playoffs. And losing players like Serge Ibaka, who can mentor those type players while he's on the floor, it definitely makes a huge difference. It's one thing if Ty Lue is telling you, hey, you need to rotate and spin to the basket and go here. But it's another thing if Serge Ibaka is telling you that and he's leading by example on the floor while he's doing it. People learn better by example sometimes rather than somebody just audio or somebody just telling them. So like I said, that championship pedigree IQ, losing that hurts them a lot. As I said, I thought they would have let go of Marcus Morris before they let go of Serge Ibaka. That's just my opinion. But hey, it is what it is now. But we'll see how it pans out going forward for the Clippers. But hey, that's my take on everything. You leave any comments in the comment section as always. And hey, Khaliis out.